I bet there are a ton of students being crushed under the cumbersome weight of academic demands and wondering, do I even need school to make it in life? What's interesting about that question in particular is that there is an increasing number of folks emerging the Hall of Fame without passing through the rigorous route of formal education, the conventional path, whether it's 20-year-old Nigerian controversial influencer Peller, who doesn't have a university degree and is well successful, or the more valuable 42-year-old CEO of Network who is making the headlines for being a high school dropout turned an industrial disruptor with his awe-inspiring feats. And on this episode of the Enlightened Podcast, we are going to resolve the age-long tension between formal education and real-world success. I am Lydia Mark, and this is the Enlightened Podcast for teenagers and young adults. And it is a pleasure to have you join me today. For those of you who don't know, I don't think I've ever said this in public. No, I am a 20-year-old Nigerian female, obviously. I graduated secondary school 5 years ago, and no, I do not have a university degree yet. And no, I am not in the university yet, even though I aspire to go one day. So you can already tell this topic means so much to me. It's a sensitive topic and it means so much to me. And I'm hoping that this topic will inspire others out there like me who have struggles with attaining a university degree, with going to school, perhaps university, or those who are contemplating refusing formal education in general. So let's get right into the meat for today. Our case studies will be Peller and Aaron Levant, the 42-year-old CEO of Network. So our guy, Aaron Levant, who is the high school dropout, who is making the headlines, he dropped out of high school, as I said before, and he was both dyslexic and oppositionally defiant. I guess these are the reasons why he dropped out. Dyslexic meaning he had difficulty in reading and writing, and he just rejected the whole idea of high school. During elementary school, he launched a self published car zine, which became a sign of his entrepreneurial drive. So, in less than a minute, I would like to walk you through what this guy achieved, even without formal education. At just 19, Aaron Levant launched Agenda Show, a trade show platform devoted to streetwear, sneakers, art, and music, which grew into a global phenomenon, attracting over 2,000 brands and 10,000 retailers. He later co-created ComplexCon, an immersive festival that fuses fashion, music, art, food, and activism. He is also the CEO and co-founder of Network, a live stream shopping platform that combines content, commerce, and episodic programming, which was recognized as one of Fast Company's most innovative companies in 2021 and has raised substantial venture funding alongside other notable ventures. Aaron Levant happens to be just one amongst numerous outliers who break through the orthodox path of formal education, whether partly or completely, and claim success nevertheless. People like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Mark Zuzu, Jay-Z, Lady Gaga, William Legate, Emma Greed, Melissa Lewis, Hardy Sidhu, amongst others. And we know how to wield these notable folks and their experiences into our favor, into our quest for success outside formal education, forgetting the fact that there are also thousands, millions of uneducated people who are unsuccessful. Well, this is why they are referred to as outliers. They're special people. Are you an outlier? Am I an outlier? For a moment, I thought I was. When I struggled to get into school, I struggled to gain admission into the university in Nigeria, but I couldn't for 5 whole years. I was heartbroken, and then I thought, if I can go through the conventional route of formal education, I might as well just claim success on my own outside school. But it didn't really work out. Not when you're pressured by a number of family relatives and people around you to go to school because they feel it's important. And right now, I am still trying out once again. I am going to tell you how that goes as soon as the result comes out. So, am I saying that education in all forms and levels, formal education that is a critical prerequisite for success? Not quite. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to unravel the true and direct message of this content shortly. But before that, I want us to look into Peller's story. So, just in case you don't know who Peller is this clown, this Nigerian clown, literally, who gained fame through TikTok streaming, I guess. And his story was featured on The Guardian News Nigeria because he recruited a couple of university degree holders to stand as his cameraman, and he was going to pay them 500,000 naira. The headline says mixed reactions as Peller interviews master's degree holders for 500k cameraman job. And there are a few comments I would like to read, just three. And I want you to listen carefully. The first one says, from university to working for Peller, we no go school. God, I beg. Oh. The second says, which job will you give 500k as a master's holder in Nigeria? I bet he did it just to get back at them. That he's not educated, now he's employing them. And the last one, which we're going to dwell on the most, says, don't let clowns like this, thank you, clown, like this, demotivate you with stunts like this, trying to prove that school na scam. In the real world, underline real world, people use education as a launch pad. This blatantly exposes the pre existing tension between formal education and real world success. In a world where one video shot in your bedroom could go viral and you could start earning big overnight and even begin to influence millions, formal education and the stress that comes with it as a route through success might begin to seem a bit too overrated. Young people might become discouraged by influencers like Peller and outliers like Aaron from pursuing formal education. Who doesn't want to have to brag that they made it in life outside the conventional path, that they are self-made, that they did it all on their own outside school? Sounds like a really great plot to me. You see, I was inspired by these individuals, these notable individuals, to proactively create awareness about the value in formal education because I'm starting to think that social media influencer culture and viral virus is going to push young people to a place where they begin to downplay the value in formal education, the value in education as a whole. Because after all, I can get money and fame and establishment doing what I want online, especially with stories like Aaron, Levant, and Peller flying around. And what about those who went to school and those who are in school and those who've bagged a certificate? Many of them, many young people, especially in this part of of the world, end up being disillusioned, just as one of those comments said, such as those people who went to Peller seeking a job as his cameraman. Many of these people graduate the university being disillusioned because school didn't stick to its end of the bargain: a soft life, a successful career, a good job, resulting in what I would like to refer to as the school na scam generation. More on that later. So, if I can make money online and be famous, be renowned, and be successful without fancy education, then why subject myself to such torture in the first place? Does my academics guarantee success? If not, then why am I on this train in the first place? I'll tell you why. But before then, before we unravel this subject, we need to establish something fundamental. We need to clarify our understanding of two entities of education, of school, and of success. So, right about now, we're going to define the concept of school. Yep, we need to be as basic as possible to unravel this subject to the core. So, school is an agency of education, as you already know. School forms the most established and structured form of education, and it is responsible for the development of a child intellectually, socially, professionally, and in character. Since school is only an agency of education, it means education is the main character here. So let's talk about education for a sec. So, when it comes to education, education is a broad term that is used to refer to a process of acquiring skills, values, ethics, learnings, and knowledge. And school just happens to be one of the agencies of education. There are actually a number of them categorized into three. We've got formal education, informal education, and non formal education. School, which falls under, yeah, formal education. There are various forms of education, but I feel like school has offers the best metric, the best standards to weigh one's intellectual value and credibility. Now. One's academics might not guarantee their success in life, but knowledge objectively determines durable success for everyone. Knowledge. And so school offers the best, the most structured, methodic, systematic, and cumulative opportunity to acquire such knowledge. Now, when it comes to success, there are a number of ways to define success. And this is because success is largely personal and subjective. Success means different things to different people who want different things in life. And what I believe is that success is not an alternative to formal education, but an essential adjunct of it. Because oftentimes I feel like people make us choose between one at the expense of the other, and in most cases to choose success, like you had to choose between the two, like there was a division or a dichotomy. No, success and formal education and education as a whole are complementary, and no, you don't have to choose between one or the other. School isn't a fixed gateway to success. It is just one of the gateways to success, although the most valued, the most recognized, but it is not the fixed gateway, just as it isn't the only agency of education. However, the bottom line is that we must embrace education, education in all forms, especially the methodic kind. One of the issues I feel like we have with our mindset as regarding the subject of formal education versus real world success is that we limit education, we limit school as an agency of education to be a means through which we can attain a good job and whatnot. And of course, school should fund your existence. Education should fund your existence. Education should grant you success in your field of interest, success in your dreams, and even help you monetarily. But this isn't the only reason. This isn't even the major reason, if you ask me. There is so much more. I'm not just going to school to come out with a paper that I can fly into the workforce and labor for the rest of my life. No, there is so much more. Education helps us evolve, it helps us to become better human beings, to think critically, and it improves our overall quality of life. And I'll show you in just a second. The word education comes from a Latin word educare, which means to bring up or to nourish. This term is derived from another Latin word, educere, meaning to lead forth or to bring out. When you break these words down, you get two distinct but complementary ideas about education. On the one hand, educare suggests nurturing, caring for, and cultivating the growth of a person. On the other hand, educare points to the idea of drawing out or bringing forth what is already inside a person, the inherent potential, talents, and abilities that they might not yet be fully aware of. This interpretation invites us to view education as a holistic process that nurtures and cares for the spirit and for the mind, rather than an institution that is established to enable us to attain our materialistic desires or to get a job, maybe. So, in essence, school education isn't just a ticket out of poverty and misery. That's a limiting mindset towards knowledge in general. That is why people get disappointed when they don't secure jobs through their degrees and certificates, because they think that school is something mechanical, education is something mechanical they just have to do. It is more than a social obligation, bro. Education is so much more. The moment you recognize this, the moment you realize that education is for your personal growth and development, for your evolvement as a human being, rather than a social obligation or a means to a materialistic end termed as success, the moment everything changes for you. And you will get success in the long run because your mindset towards education is elevated. And the moment you understand this, the moment you begin to actively seek education on a daily basis. So let me ask you, based on your daily activities, engagement, and content consumption, how educated are you? Like I said before, success is subjective, and we don't want to confine vibrant dreams and gifts to the conventional path. Everybody's ambitions are different, and different routes will take us there. So, the best thing to do is to discover where you're headed early in life and the path that leads you there. What you want, where you're going, and how to get there. And I would be lying if I said that it would always be through formal education or through school. No, it wouldn't always be that way. Maybe you're an outlier, just maybe. And when it comes to success, let's not forget that there are so many factors that contribute to success, not just education. Education happens to be just one. There is virtues such as discipline, consistency, we've got networking, we've got values, we've got skills, and so much more. So education just happens to be one, probably the bedrock, probably the foundation, but it's just one. There's still many others to put in place. Lastly, I talked about the school na scam generation in my country, Nigeria. This content is actually a developmental content to the main content I will be creating in a few months, perhaps. It's titled School na Scam, a critique on the Nigerian educational system. And I'm not going to be focusing on the government as it is usually the case. I'm going to be talking about everybody's role, including your role in the broken educational system in this country. And trust me, this is a content to anticipate. We're going to talk about so much, and I'm going to share my personal story above all. And I believe it is going to speak to so many people how I had to wait for 5 years, why I had to wait for 5 years, how the Nigerian educational system almost rendered my dreams and visions futile. So, what do you think? Does formal education guarantee success or not? And why? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Toodles!